Hello, and welcome back to Crit and Crit. I'm Sint,
I'm Axion.
and we are continuing our discussion of Terry Pratchett's Pyramids while we play through La-Mulana.
I got Hecatonic Hairs dead. Required using a lot of caltrops. And I got the chakram for my trouble, which we're going to need very soon.
Oh boy.
First, I believe we need to heal. So, this has been an interesting ride. This was not one of Pratchett's books that I was super familiar with in advance.
But you were the one who suggested it.
Yep. I thought it would be an interesting read.
I mean, it's hard to find a Discworld book that isn't at least, somewhat good.
This is true.
They're just fun.
I would say I bet you people are getting sick of seeing the Temple of the Sun, but it is really fitting for this book that we keep coming back here.
It's also just a really convenient hub for a lot of the areas we need to get to.
It is. Which is the in-game reason why I keep coming back.
But, yeah. So, like I mentioned last time, because I totally did not misread the episode list that we had written down, our topic today is worth. What is worth?
About 350.
So, worth in general is about 350.
Worth is ascribing value to something. And what that value is can vary dramatically depending on the context and the person providing the answer to that question. What one person values and why can be dramatically different conversations.
Yep. So, for example, the main thing in Jelly Baby that is worth anything would be pyramids. Pretty much all of the country's riches go into the pyramids. Literally.
Yep.
Like, both in terms of we pay for them and we also put things inside for the dead.
To the point that they keep having to sell off land to afford to build more pyramids.
Yep, and the architects have noted, but you never pay. But you can't turn down a job from the palace.
Yep.
So, they're very, very valuable, even though, technically speaking, they're kind of not worth anything of utility. Like, yeah, they're there, but they're not really helping anything. I thought that would have worked.
I did too. I think I'm missing something.
Maybe. I don't have that one yet. So, there's that worth. Then, there's the fact that since Jelly Baby is so poor because they've spent all their money on pyramids, this is actually why Tepik is... Forgot where you were?
Yep. That's okay. I know where I need to be now.
This is why they send Tepik out of Jelly Baby so he can go learn a trade, specifically at the Assassin's Guild, because it's very lucrative. So, monetary worth. Which also brings up the main reason I wanted to talk about this episode. Tepik's fellow assassin student, Chitter.
So, we are introduced to a small handful of Tepik's associates at the beginning of the story, one of which, Cheesewright, doesn't even make it through the assassin's test. He's presumably dead. The others, Chitter and... I cannot remember the other one's name. Meet up with Tepik after the tests are done, and wait around to see which of their other compatriots do or don't make it, and then go out celebrating, which also happens to be the night that Tepic's father dies in the morning. I need to find the other seal before I can do this. I don't remember where that is. Is it up here?
I don't think so. 'Cause this was the Twin Labyrinth, wasn't it?
Maybe. But there's a couple things I can do in there, too. So... Oh, stupid monkey.
Is that what it is? I thought it was like an aardvark.
It's like a proboscis monkey, I think.
I don't know.
I'd have to look it up. Anyway, I've lost my train of thought.
The point is dolphins.
No, that's a different Pratchett book. Anyway, is it this wall? Oh, it is this wall. Sweet, money. Oh.
Time to warp out?
Oh no, I can beat this guy. He's just annoying. Okay, now it's time to warp out.
I was gonna say, isn't this the time stop, Dirk?
Yes. Right, what was I saying before?
I don't remember. Oh, we were talking about, the fellow assassin students, Chitter and,
yes.
Arthur, I think.
So we never hear from Arthur again after the scene where Tepic inherits his godly powers and begins his journey back home. But Chitter, on the other hand, goes on to make himself a lucrative lifestyle as not a pirate or a smuggler.
Yeah. Wait, I had to find the quote when Tepic first goes back, but asks him to help him get back home. It's like, I will be back in the kingdom as soon as possible. It's not a case of must, you must understand. I will, and you can help me, Chitty. How? Your father has an extremely fast vessel he uses for smuggling, said Tepic flatly. He will lend it to me in exchange for favorable consideration of future trading opportunities. If we leave within the hour, it will do the journey in plenty of time. My father is an honest trader. 70% of his income last year is from undeclared trading in the following commodities. Tepic's eyes stared into nothingness. From illegal transport of Galanes and Lushars, 9%. From night running of untaxed, 30% honest. Which is a lot more honest than most. You better tell me how you know, extremely quickly. I don't know. So, yeah. Chitter comes from a shady family. Just don't tell them that.
I mean, it's fine. You just don't call them that. It's a Morpork. Even the most degenerate of businesses are, good, honest work. They have a thieves guild, after all. No, I need to go up there. And they'll even give you a receipt.
Yep, and if you are robbed by someone who's not a part of the Thieves Guild, they will get it back. They will take care of that for you.
And you can only be robbed so many times. They have a limit. It would be unprofessional otherwise. How would you know if people are getting their due?
So yeah, there's clearly there's something worth to be said for value there. But what I actually had brought up this episode for was when Chitter reappeared.
Yep.
Look, Chitty, you're not a pirate, are you? Is that what's been worrying you? It wasn't everything that Tepik had been worrying about, but it had been jockeying for top position. No, we're not. We just prefer to avoid paperwork wherever possible, you know? We don't like people to have all the worry of knowing everything we do. We get attacked by pirates a fair amount. That's why we have this built. It always surprises them, and the whole thing is morally sound. We get their ships, their booty, and any prisoners they may have get rescued and given a ride home at competitive rates. What do you do with the pirates? That depends on future employment prospects. How's the king business? So Tepik told him. Chitter listened intently, swirling the wine around in his glass. So that's it. We heard there was going to be a war. That's why we're sailing tonight. I don't blame you. No, I mean to get the trade organized, with both sides, naturally, because we're strictly impartial. The weapons produced on this continent are really quite shocking, downright dangerous. You should come with us too, you're a very valuable person. Never felt more valueless than right now, said Tepik, despondently. But you're a king. Of a country which still technically exists but isn't actually reachable by mortal man? Sadly so. And you can pass laws about currency and taxation? I suppose? And you don't think you're valuable? Good grief, Tep, our accountants can probably think of 50 ways to go. My hands go damp just to think about it. Father will probably ask to move our head office there for a start. No one can get in. That doesn't matter. No, we'll just make Anchor our main branch office and pay our taxes in more other places. All we need is an official address in, I don't know, Avenue of the Pyramids or something. Take my tip and don't give in on anything till my father gives you a seat on the board. You're royal anyway, that's always impressive. So that was it. You lost your kingdom, but then it was worth more because it was a tax haven. You took a seat on the board, whatever that was, and that made it all right.
I mean, given some of the bureaucratic nonsense that people do with tax havens in the real world, can you imagine what those kinds of people would do with something like this if it could actually exist?
I mean, those are probably the exact reason that this line got slipped into this, given that Pratchett is a known satirist.
Well, yes, no, I got that. That's what I was getting at. I was just pointing out, just actually think about it. Think about what he's satirizing and why the satire works. And that leads to, can you imagine what that would be like in the real world if it was possible? And like I just said, that's why the satire works, because if you can compare it to how it works in the real world and how people would react to something like that, can I make that jump? I don't think I can. Maybe I can from up here. Yeah. I was hoping that would make a platform appear or something.
No, I think you have to do the one on the left last.
No, you have to do the middle one last because it needs to go down and then be pushed over here so it doesn't get blocked off. Because if you push this one down last, it would land here next to this block and not be able to push it over. Wait, I got left and right confused, didn't I?
I think so.
Yeah. Ow.
Just don't fall into the endless spike pit.
Preferably not.
But yeah, so, worth. When it comes down to it, if you can say that your country is worth more when it's inaccessible in a weird, extra temporal demi-plane that you can't ever get to, because you can commit tax fraud with it, what really is worth except something defined by other people who don't really care about, anything other than the bottom line? Human life has worth, does it not?
I would say so, but there are, admittedly, a lot of people who would. And that's kind of a recurring problem in society in general, is the people who get to decide what things are worth tend to only value things that increase their own worth or the worth of things that they care about. And as a result, they tend to undervalue things like other people, especially the people that work for them and create their wealth. And that's how we end up with the messed up systems we have today. Ah. And you can see this reflected both in Chitter is a really good example because he's looking at the value of Tepic and of Jelly Baby solely as how can this benefit me and the people that I work with, and how can I take this situation and work it to my advantage, while Tepic is actually trying to fix the problem.
Yep, and it's really just is the full focus of why I wanted to have this episode. The different meanings of worth.
Because, honestly, if you ask Tepic what his country is worth, at least at this point in the story, where he's going out of his way to fix things... Ow. He's clearly got an invested interest in making the problem... doing something about the problem.
That's been the problem the whole time, though, is that Tepic has wanted to be able to do things, to solve things, but something or other has stopped him every single time, whether it's Dios countermanding everything he attempts to do, canceling any sort of orders that would expose Jelly Baby to the outside world, or in this case, a giant reality-warping pyramid kicking him out of his country. Okay, well, he ran until he did get stuck, but still. Something has always stopped him from being able to do it. So now he actually can do something, and he does. Oh no.
Destruction Fairy. Yay! I found out what I needed to do.
Well, and even though Jelly Baby does get fixed and therefore isn't really the tax haven paradise that Chitter wanted it to be, you can kind of get the hint that Jelly Baby's going to see some changes because he and Tracy are on quite friendly terms. So he's going to be in a very influential position.
Ow.
And yeah, I'm not really sure what else to add.
Honestly, the only thing I would really add to this conversation is if we're going to talk about worth and value, I think the proper last thing to end that conversation on is Dios. Dios values one thing and one thing only, and that is Jelly Baby, and making sure that it is healthy, stable, and that its traditions and its history are maintained and respected. And that does have a value to it, primarily through the power it gives him. But it's also... it's not an uncommon sentiment that we hear even in real life, that the value of something is determined by the persistence of its culture and its traditions. I mean, look at how nuts our own country goes certain times every year because of the expectation of certain traditions to be maintained.
And honestly, there are people like that today who, doing the things properly, the proper things in the proper way, in proper order, at proper time is more important than any reasoning behind it. Like, what harm would there have been, for example, in Tepik getting indoor plumbing installed in the palace?
Oh, okay.
Needed to go this way anyway.
I thought I was going to get stuck again.
Yeah, there wouldn't have been any harm for something like that.
Yep.
Like, that wouldn't have changed anything other than, well, we always use chamber pots. Okay, but sometimes change is necessary.
Yep.
Sometimes it's change for change's sake, but for this case, it's like, no, we have an actual good hygienic reason for it. But, yeah, any change was too much change for Dios.
I was about to say, he did not value change because he did not value the people that it benefited, I think is probably the most accurate way to put that. Dios did not see people as valuable. He saw them as pieces of a puzzle, parts of a greater whole that exist to provide a function. And when you see people that way, that was the wrong button. It becomes near impossible to treat them with any sort of respect because you don't respect a tool. You don't respect a part of a machine. You don't respect a thing, an item, the way that you would need to respect a person. And if you see people as things... I missed. When you start seeing... this was a quote from one of our earlier books. I forget which one. You start seeing people as things, and that is when you stop being a good person, because a thing doesn't need to be considered for its feelings. You don't need to consider its needs or its wants. You don't need to be concerned for its well-being. It's just an object that serves its intended function and then is to be discarded once it no longer can do so.
Which is kind of a dangerous mindset.
Yep.
And one that too many people have.
And Dios is kind of emblematic of this because he's actually an extreme case, even for many stories, in that he doesn't see anybody as possessing any kind of intrinsic value as a person. Everything exists for the purpose of the maintenance of the well-being of Jelly Baby. And anything that doesn't is an active harm to the kingdom and is to be treated as such.
Up to and including the king.
Yes, and that's kind of what I was gonna get at, is for all that he talks about that he is a servant of the king and of the gods, when the king and the gods don't agree with him, he overrides them on the regular and says, no, I speak for the king. I decide what the king would believe, what the king would say. I am the arbiter of what is good for this kingdom. Aw. Didn't get my chakram back.
Wait, how come it didn't go to you that time? It flew right through you.
Because I missed it.
Ah. Yeah, which also belatedly brings up another sort of worth to me, which is the worth of a title. You're the king, Tepic, but you can't do anything. You just get blamed for Dios's decisions. What's the point? What is the value in being able to call yourself a king if you aren't really?
I was about to say, what is the... Oh, crud. What is the point of being a ruler when you don't actually get to rule? You're just the figurehead of the guy who's actually in charge of everything. And admittedly, some of this comes down to the differences between Dios's timeless nature and immense force of personality versus the other priests who are kind of just meh. But it's also a difference in approach between Tepic and Tracy, that Tracy's response to this is to just tell the priests no.
And to be fair, I think if she tried it on Dios, it would have worked about as well as when Tepic tried it.
Yep, that's kind of what I was saying.
Yeah, just agreeing.
That, but it does speak to some difference that she's willing to just take that and go with it, whereas Tepic kind of found himself stuck in a corner with Dios, unwilling and unable to... Okay, there wasn't even a wall there for you to climb on, you stupid little blue person.
Don't diss the Smurfs.
Yeah!
But yeah, I'm not really sure that I have anything else I can add. And I think this is a dead end until you unlock the other half.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't believe I can go anywhere. I was probably supposed to go right from there.
Oh well, probably a good place to stop anyway.
Yep.
We'll be back here eventually.
Yep. In the meantime, that wraps up Pyramids. And, it was nice to be back in Discworld. Hopefully our next trip there won't be as long between episodes as this one was. But, next time, it's October, and you know what that means. Time for more spooky.
Cooler weather?
That too. The weather actually has been nice, very nice this October, which is a welcome change. But yeah, time for something a little spooky. Just in time for Halloween. See y'all then.
Bye.